too much, we're going to get to the music. If you didn't see the programs on your way in, they're sitting on a stand at the entrance of the theater, so feel free to grab it 2 pages. Some housekeeping in terms of emergencies. Please look around you, find the nearest exit on either side of the stage and the door you came in through. If you're in the balcony, there are exits at the back of the balcony in case of emergencies. Hopefully we won't need them. And yeah, that's it. Again, thank you, welcome. I'm going to turn the stage over to Shirley Blandino. Shirley's president of the Rochester Alumnae chapter of Sigma Alpha Iota. And she can tell you a bit more about our program today. Enjoy.
Thank you, as Michelle was saying, I am the president of SAI. And on behalf of Mu Phi Epsilon and Sigma Alpha Iota, we'd like to thank you first for thinking about us on this excursion to Scandinavia. One of the things that's neat about music is music can carry you anywhere. And so now we're having a delightful musical performance to carry us to Scandinavia, Norway, and the such. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy all the music today. Go ahead.
And as we would say in Norway, velkommen. I'm Karen Riker, president of the Scandinavian Heritage Society, our local chapter of the Sons of Norway. And we are delighted to have had Marilyn put this program together for us to introduce the Rochester community to Scandinavian music. The whole country of the whole area of Scandinavia has a unique history, it has a unique culture, and it has a unique season with the hard winters and the sun-filled summers, such extremes in weather and temperament, and it has captured the musicians. And so, if you will, try to picture that in your mind. What they're expressing is how they are dealing with winter and summer and the emotions of that. So, I appreciate you coming. If you are interested in learning more about Scandinavian heritage, I do have a little sign-up sheet, and you can either membership to the Sons of Norway, or you can attend some of our other cultural programs that we have, Scandinavian Heritage Society, but we also enjoy food. And so we have some infamous Rikkefisk dinner, which is a delicacy, a love-hate relationship with shellfish. Right? So that was also the wonderful Scandinavian meal. So please enjoy and come to the program. Thank you.
rushing streams, finding no rest until thrown in the torrential waves of the sea. You know, very, very passionate. And then what we're going to be playing next, the Swedish Waltz Medley. Let me just pull that up there. Emma's Waltz is a very popular Swedish and Norwegian folk song played at social dances. It's also claimed to come from Finland and
Vatican?
He was one of the leading Romantic era composers. He was born to a merchant and a music teacher. And his mother, I learned, had ties to Clanbragger in Scotland. So I'm wondering now if there are some Scottish, the Vikings traveled all over. There's a lot of common, I spent a lot of time playing Irish fiddle music, and Scottish fiddle music. But, there's some crossover. The Norwegian dance was originally scored for piano for four-hand, and later transcribed for orchestra by Hans C. It is also called Four Norwegian Dances, which were inspired by folk tunes published in 1853 by Ludwig Matthias Lindemann. The movements of all of the pieces, especially in this one, are usually in three parts, with a main section, a contrasting interlude, and then a main section return. And this movement, this movement is known for its demure and winsome character. So as the kids would say, this is our very mindful, very demure piece. And if you don't know what that means, you can Google it later. It's a TikTok thing. so you can go into your Scandinavian bar and do some Tuttobene dancing later on. And I just want to say one thing before we finish our first song. My mom and I were visiting the tulips, not this year, but last year. The wonderful flower displays in February. And we happened to be standing in the living room where the piano is. And she was at one door, and I was at one door, and we were being silly and like waving at each other like crazy people. Like we hadn't seen each other in forever. And right in front of her was a woman named Signe Zale, who happened to be a Norwegian pianist who also worked in my school as a guidance counselor. And so I ran over and we all talked, and she was kind of the inspiration for this. We were talking about how wonderful it would be to play there, and my mom called and talked to Michelle, who's the docent. Is that the right title?
Curator, but that's okay.
Curator.
playing a fretted Dulcimer, hourglass shape with parts in it with frets, like a guitar. And this is one that I made. It's made of maple with an Adirondack red spruce top. Yes, from the high peaks. And the top is everything. Just like on a violin, on the guitar, I'm holding this in my lap, so the back of it is muted. The top then is everything. Yes, I have a pickup just to be polite. And I'm playing with a guitar pick, and just for this one melody, a stick. We think the stick might be German. Turns out that most Western European countries, not including the British Isles, has a dulcimer-like instrument in its folk music history. When I first saw a dulcimer, I was probably 15, and it was at a music cafe in Saratoga Springs called Cafe Lena. Cafe Lena is still there. And we would hitchhike to Cafe Lena because there really were not many places where a 15, 16-year-old could go. And the music was wonderful that we saw and heard and really didn't understand. Folk music, ballads, blues, lots of others. And then one time, I was sitting right in front of the performer, just as you are, and she was playing an hourglass-shaped instrument with frets on it, and I had no idea what it was, except that it captured my attention immediately because of its Scandinavian appearance. And this performer was Jean Ritchie, who at that time was working as a social worker in New York City. I didn't understand the music. I didn't understand the fret pattern. I'll talk about the fret pattern in a minute. But what came from it was really intriguing because she was not making a lot of effort to get music out of her instrument. And it turns out that with this particular instrument and this particular fret pattern, once you get it in tune, you can't play it wrong. You can sit and noodle around on it. It's great for kids. And then in another, I've had a whole long series of very interesting experiences regarding the fretted dulcimer here, down the East Coast, and in Sweden, my relatives, etc., and picked up this song or melody as a calling song. It could be for calling the cows, it could be, I'm not sure, but it lent itself exactly to this fret pattern. It is a calling song. repeat itself, perhaps like a midsummer event that we went to in one of the villages on another trip, calling people to come and gather for a celebration. On another trip, I have relatives in north of Stockholm. We happened to go, my wife and I were wandering around Galveston, which is an island off of Stockholm. Galveston means old city, and it is pretty old. Some of the buildings were 12th century, 11th century. It was wonderful just to see that part of my life from my father and my grandparents that I have never seen before. Went into an antique store, and we're noodling around. Here's a book about another Swedish instrument called a hummel. Hummel. And written in German. And on the cover, I have it at home, on the cover is a photograph of a man playing this musical instrument called the hummel. Imagine that these curves here are gone. So this side is all flat, and this side is curved. With, depends on the maker, 5, 6, 10, 12 strings, of which only 1 or 2 are playing strings. The rest of them vibrate in harmony. And in the back of the book, written by hand, are several scores of folk tunes, written by or composed by the fellow on the cover with the hummel. His name was Otto Malmberg, and this is a polska. I call it Malmberg's polska because if I mention where it really came from, nobody has any idea what that means. And it turns out that Otto Malmberg was a very popular movie star from the 30s. You think back right away to, what does that imply? And this is Malmberg's polska, again, a dance song, dance melody. If you feel compelled to dance, there's a little stick over here. I have played this. I have worked with the folks in Jamestown for a long time, and they do have meetings in Jamestown Community College once a month in the bad weather, in the winter weather, and we're in the student lounge, lots and lots of space, and I started having a couple of times, start playing this, and people begin to dance, round dances, not square dances. It's just very intriguing. It sounds like this. to you. We have met them several times. They will take traditional musical themes, Swedish most particularly, and drift into jazz. It's very, very cool. And then bring it back at the end. If you ever have an opportunity to see or hear Boston, it is a real experience. And they use a musical instrument, which we don't have here, called the harp. Imagine, well, sort of, taking this, strapping it to your chest, with, again, 4 playing strings, but say 8 vibrating strings that are in harmony, and it's played with a bow, with a short bow. Very popular, and it is the national instrument of Sweden. So I met them, very funny guys, younger guys, not younger now, but younger guys, and the guitar player, very easy to talk to, Roge Tolera. We would say Roger, but it is pronounced Roge, who had a completely different way of playing his guitar, different tunings. If you can imagine trying to play an acoustic guitar with an ancient instrument like the nyckelharpa, took them a lot of time to get things together. And they composed. This is contemporary. And here is one of Roge's themes called Josephine's Waltz. It's a little bit different, and it's sort of classic. Extensive genre of holiday music that comes out of Sweden. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the two. Lots of recordings, lots of CDs. I have tended to pick up music from different places. If you are a musician, you probably hear music all the time. Whether you're playing music in the car, it's at home, various concerts and so on, different things will catch your attention. And I have a good extensive collection of that kind of music on CDs. And this is for children. This is a children's song. Good morning, Pop. Good morning, Father. The children are trying to get the parents up on Christmas morning. and they don't want to get up. So it takes them 3 times to go through and get their parents up, and finally, this is the dynamic of the song, finally the parents get up. And then there is a celebration. So I attached a different melody to this called a St. Stephen's dance, St. Stephen's Day, the day after Christmas, when we, or rather in some cultures, recognize the less fortunate and do our best to take care of them. It is a celebration. Good morning, Pop. And it's Christmas morning. Yay. And yes, it's very true that fiddle tunes, melodies, etc., travel across Scandinavia, across the Atlantic, whether they are Scandinavian, Irish, Polish, French, whatever they might be. And they always change. For people who learn this kind of music and enjoy it, whether it's fiddle, piano, guitar, dulcimer, it doesn't matter what it is, it's the act of playing that makes the difference. It's why people do it. Occasionally, an error in an original fiddle tune is made, but it stays, and it becomes something else. It might be a little easier, it might be a little more difficult to play, and okay, that's the development of what we call folk music. This song, last one, it came from a hymn called Gather by the River. Shall we gather by the river? And was taken and turned into, no idea who did this, to a reel dance, R-E-E-L, a Virginia reel, called the Virginia Reel. I lifted this from a movie about Jesse James, right? What? What? Yes, because there is a scene in the movie where the James family, which guess in reality it was very large, was having, I don't think it was Christmas, it was a dance, family celebration of some kind, and in the corner, there were performers, violin. Sometimes, this is an aside, in a movie like that, you might see somebody playing a hammered dulcimer with hammers, large trapezoidal shape. I cannot account for the name. Don't know why this is dulcimer and the other is dulcimer, except this is fretted dulcimer and the other is hammered dulcimer. I picked up this lyric, or this melody, and I thought this is very cool to be able to play on an instrument like this. It is the Virginia Rio. Here we go.
And so I want to give Coriander credit for coming up with the title, Tiny for Nordic Music, Mountains, Lakes, and Fjords, because it represents the yearning that Scandinavians and Nordic countries, which are Iceland and Finland, yearn for their homeland because they have immigrated to the United States, and they just love, I mean, we have beautiful scenery here, but theirs is pretty unique. And so as you see these pieces in here mostly, visualize these geographic things that they are missing from their homeland. I'm dealing with seasonal drainage, so let me clear my throat. My parents were, my mother was from Sweden, obviously. My grandparents Bulgaria, and they emigrated to the United States to become citizens. They both had large families, 10, 11 in the family, and they wanted something better. And they had a great influence on my passion and love for Scandinavian music and the love of the culture and the land. And I have challenged, my grandfather taught me the Swedish, but I have challenged myself to learn the Norwegian. And I recently thought I was singing Norwegian until Corey and I did a little research, and I found Jussi Björli recording and did a little history, and I'll tell you about that later, because I'm really singing in Danish. So now we do Salday's song from Fjords, and it is a very beautiful piece and loved by Norwegians and everyone.
and they became good friends. And so Hans Christian Andersen, he translated added lyrics to what Grieg had written, and they were, of course, in Danish. And then they met a friend who loved the piece so much that, and I think, and here again, it was used in here again, the melody. They loved the piece, and he started translating it into German, Deutsch, and English. And you probably know it as Ich liebe dich, which means I love you. That's how I first learned it. But I decided I wanted the original, authentic Danish composition. And Jussi Björling did it, so I thought I could do it too. And he spells it, it's the romantic version of classic Danish, which there's a more modern version, but this is the romantic one. So, now Escate. And the final piece is Escate. And this was, I now you know, that's composed by Edvard Grieg. And in his early life, he met Hans Christian Andersen. And in Danish, it's not S-O-N, but S-E-N. And they became good friends. And so Hans Christian Andersen, he translated, or added lyrics to what Grieg had written. And they were, of course, in Danish. And then they met a friend who loved the piece so much that, and I think, and Peer Gynt, it was used in Peer Gynt, the melody. They loved the piece, and he started translating it into German, Deutsch, and English. And you probably know it as Ich liebe dich, which means I love thee. That's how I first learned it. But I decided I wanted the original, authentic Danish composition, and Jussi Björling did it, so I thought I could do it too. And he spells it, it's the romantic version of classic Danish, which there's a more modern version, but this is the romantic one. So, Escate.